The alarm screamed through the Galactic Security Council chambers at exactly 400 hours. Director jerked awake at his desk, his four eyes snapping open in sequence. The red emergency lights painted the walls in blood-colored shadows. He had been reviewing trade agreements for the outer colonies, but now none of that mattered. His communication panel lit up with priority messages. Pressed his hand against the sensor and the main screen flickered to life. What he saw made his blood run cold. A massive ship had appeared on the edge of civilized space. The computer had already run the analysis. The vessel's energy signature matched only one classification in the entire galactic database, Class 15 Origin. Had been director for 40 cycles. He had handled pirate raids, diplomatic incidents, even a brief war with the Empire. But this was different. This was the nightmare that kept security chiefs awake across the galaxy. He activated the emergency council summons. Within minutes, representatives from 17 species began appearing on the communication screens. Some looked confused. Others were already reading the reports, their faces showing the same fear felt. "Explain the situation," Ambassador N demanded. The diplomat was known for staying calm during crisis situations, but even his voice carried an edge of panic. Pulled up the data on the main display. Deep Space Monitoring Station Echo 7 detected the vessel 3 hours ago. It entered our space near the Epsilon Trade Corridor. The ship is approximately 2 kilometers in length and generates power readings we have never seen from a civilian vessel. Classification? Security Chief K asked. The military commander was already pulling up fleet positions on his secondary screen. Class 15 Registry said quietly. The silence that followed was complete. Every representative knew what that meant. The classification system rated planets based on how dangerous they were to standard galactic life. Class 1 worlds were paradise planets with gentle weather and abundant resources. Class 5 worlds had some challenges but remained comfortable. Class 10 worlds were considered the absolute limit of colonization possibility. Class 15 worlds were death traps, planets where the gravity alone could crush most species, where the atmosphere was poison and the weather could kill in seconds, where predators evolved to hunt with an efficiency that made military weapons look primitive. No sane species tried to colonize such places. No one even visited them. But sometimes, very rarely, life evolved on these nightmare worlds. And when it did, that life became something terrifying. "Have there been other confirmed?" N asked. "Not in over 300 cycles," replied. "The last encounter was near the Kelvin Reach. We lost all contact with the research team that investigated, 23 scientists gone without a trace." K was already issuing orders. "I am mobilizing the entire defensive fleet, all available ships to converge on the Epsilon sector. We establish a perimeter, and we do not let that thing get any closer to populated systems." "What about communication?" someone asked. "We try," said, "but the historical records suggest ships do not communicate. They take what they want. Resources, technology, sometimes entire populations." The council worked quickly. Within the hour, 53 warships surrounded the unknown vessel in a defensive sphere. The best military minds in the galaxy studied the ship's design, trying to find weaknesses. The vessel was unlike anything in their databases. Its hull was thick, reinforced with materials designed to withstand incredible stress. The engine configuration suggested it could operate in environments that would tear normal ships apart. Every system appeared to have multiple redundancies. "It is just sitting there," K reported from his command ship. "No movement, no communication attempts, just holding position." "Scanning for weapons?" asked. "That is the problem," K said slowly. "I am detecting what might be weapons systems, but they are all inactive. The power signature suggests this ship could overwhelm our entire fleet, but nothing is armed." N leaned forward. "That makes no sense. Why enter our space with such an aggressive vessel and then do nothing?" "Perhaps they are studying us," suggested Ed, the intelligence director, "learning our capabilities before they attack." Inside the ship, Commander Jake Henderson stood on the bridge and stared at the wall of alien vessels surrounding his ship. His crew moved efficiently at their stations, running diagnostics and trying to understand what was happening. "How many ships?" Jake asked. 53 confirmed," Lieutenant Lisa Morgan replied from the tactical station. She was his second in command and had served with him for 6 years. They are maintaining a defensive formation. No one has fired, but weapons are hot. Jake ran his hand through his short brown hair. They had just spent 6 months cataloging the ecosystem on 442b, a brutal planet with crushing gravity and an atmosphere that would dissolve most metals. The research had been successful. They had samples, data, everything they needed. The trip home was supposed to be routine. "Why are they treating us like a threat?" Chief Science Officer Cole asked from his station. "Maybe they have never seen a ship like ours before," Lisa suggested. Jake nodded slowly. "Try to hail them again, all frequencies." Lisa worked her controls. "Sir, our standard transmitters are not compatible with their communication bands. It is like they are using a completely different system." "Keep trying," Jake ordered. "Use mathematics, light patterns, anything that might work." On the Galactic Defense Force flagship, Kay watched his tactical display with growing frustration. The ship remained passive, but that only made him more nervous. In his experience, the most dangerous predators were the ones that waited patiently before striking. "Sir, we are receiving a signal," his communication officer announced. "It is using the old text-based emergency protocol, the one we established for first contact situations over 500 cycles ago." "What does it say?" Kay demanded. The officer's expression changed from confusion to shock. "It says, 'This is the United Human Space Vessel Frontier Spirit. We are explorers from Earth, returning from a scientific mission. We mean no harm. Please respond so we can establish proper communication." Kay immediately forwarded the message to Director. "Human," repeated. "Run that designation, Earth." The councils worked frantically, searching every database. The results came back within minutes. "Found it," Eth announced. "Planet designation Earth. Classification, Class 12, pending upgrade to Class 13. The council chamber went silent again. "They are from a Class 12 world," En said quietly, "and they are calling themselves explorers." Studied the data scrolling across his screen. Earth's gravity was nearly double galactic standard. Its atmosphere had oxygen levels that would be toxic to most species. Its weather patterns included devastating storms, extreme temperature variations, and geological instability. The predator species that evolved there were the stuff of nightmares. And somehow, intelligent life had not only survived on that planet, but had thrived enough to develop space travel. "What do we do?" Kay asked. Made his decision. "We talked to them." Director watched the main screen as the response was transmitted to the human vessel. His hands were steady, but inside he felt nothing but uncertainty. Everything in his training told him to be cautious. The ship before them came from a world that should not have produced intelligent life at all. The reply came faster than expected. The text appeared in perfect galactic standard, grammatically flawless and clear. "We appreciate your response. We apologize for the confusion. Our ship was designed for extreme environment research, not military purposes. We would welcome the opportunity to meet and establish formal diplomatic relations." En read the message twice. "They want to meet face to face." "It could be a trap," Kay warned. "Predators are known for their cunning." "Or it could be genuine," countered. "We need information. I propose we invite a small delegation to Harmony Point, neutral territory, full security protocols." The vote was close, but the council agreed. The invitation was sent. Aboard the Frontier Spirit, Jake Henderson called his senior staff together in the briefing room. Lisa Morgan and Cole sat across from him, both looking as confused as he felt. "They want to meet at a neutral station," Jake explained. "They are calling it a formal first contact." "First contact?" repeated. "That means they have never encountered humans before." "Which explains why they surrounded us with warships," Lisa added. "They saw a ship from A and assumed the worst." Jake nodded. "We need to make a good impression. Lisa, you are coming with me. We will take the shuttle and keep our visit small, non-threatening." "Should we bring weapons?" Lisa asked. "Standard sidearms only," Jake decided. "We are explorers, not soldiers. Let them see that." 3 hours later, the human shuttle docked at Harmony Point. The station was old but well-maintained, designed specifically for diplomatic meetings between species with different environmental needs. Each section could be customized for temperature, gravity, and atmosphere. Jake led his team through the airlock and into the main corridor. The gravity immediately felt wrong. Too light. He could feel his body wanting to bounce with each step. Lisa and had the same reaction, all three of them carefully controlling their movements to avoid looking clumsy. The Galactic Council representatives waited in Conference Chamber 7, stood at the head of the table, flanked by N and K. Behind them were security personnel and medical staff, all carrying scanning equipment. The door opened, and the humans walked in. Had reviewed every piece of data available on species. He had read the reports, studied the theoretical profiles, prepared himself for what to expect. None of it was enough. The humans moved with a fluid grace that seemed impossible for beings from a high-gravity world. They wore simple uniforms with no visible armor or enhancement systems, no to help them walk, no gravity compensators strapped to their bodies. They functioned perfectly in what should have been difficult conditions for them. Jake stepped forward and extended his hand in the human greeting gesture he had learned was common among many species. "I am Commander Jake Henderson of the United Human Space Vessel Frontier Spirit. This is Lieutenant Lisa Morgan and Chief Science Officer Cole. We are honored to meet you." Extended his own hand carefully, mimicking the gesture. The human's grip was firm but controlled. "I am Director of the Galactic Security Council. Welcome to Harmony Point." The medical scanners were running continuously. They could barely contain their shock at what they were seeing. Human bone density was 3 times galactic average. Their muscle structure was dense and efficient. Their cardiovascular systems operated at pressure levels that would rupture most species' organs. Their neural processing showed adaptations for rapid threat assessment and response. These were not just survivors from a harsh world. These were apex predators that had learned to think. The initial pleasantries were brief. Everyone wanted answers. "Your ship was classified as Class 15 Origin," N began carefully. "Can you explain its purpose?" Jake nodded. "The Frontier Spirit is an exploration and research vessel. We study extreme environment planets. Our most recent mission was to 442b, cataloging its ecosystem and geological features." 442b, interjected, pulling up data on a portable display. "Class 14 world, surface gravity 1.6 times Earth normal, atmospheric pressure at sea level equivalent to being 800 meters underwater on most habitable planets. Ion storms that generate electromagnetic pulses strong enough to disable standard electronics." The council representatives stared at him. "You went there voluntarily?" Ed asked quietly. "It is what we do," Lisa explained. "Earth is a Class 12 world. We evolved in high gravity, dangerous weather, and an environment filled with predators. When we achieved space travel, we discovered that most comfortable planets were already inhabited or claimed. So we focused on the places no one else wanted." Felt a chill run through his body. "You are saying humanity deliberately seeks out?" "Yes," Jake confirmed. "We have 17 other exploration vessels currently operating in various extreme environment systems. We catalog the worlds, study them, and evaluate them for potential colonization." The chamber erupted in shocked whispers. Kay stood abruptly. 17 ships. You have 17 vessels like yours operating in our space without authorization." "We were not aware this was your space," Jake said calmly. "We had no contact with other intelligent species until today. We thought we were alone." The explanation did little to calm the security chief. "You have been systematically exploring the most dangerous worlds in multiple sectors. Worlds we specifically avoid because they are too hazardous. And you expect us to believe this is peaceful exploration." Lisa's expression hardened. "We are researchers, not conquerors. Every mission we conduct follows strict scientific protocols. We collect data, samples, and knowledge. We disturb existing ecosystems as little as possible." "Why?" N asked. "Why would any species choose such hardship?" Took over the explanation. "After we achieved space travel, we discovered something unexpected. Humans who settled on gentle, easy worlds began to suffer. We called it Paradise Syndrome. Our bodies are adapted for constant challenge. Remove that challenge and we physically deteriorate. Our bone density decreases. Our immune systems weaken. Depression rates increase dramatically." "You need the danger," said slowly, understanding dawning. "We need the challenge," Jake corrected. "Not danger for its own sake, but environments that push us to adapt and overcome. Provide that. We can transform them into thriving colonies while other species focus on the pleasant worlds they prefer." Kay was not convinced. And when you run out of what then, do you turn your capabilities toward conquest? The question hung in the air. Jake met the security chief's gaze directly. Humanity learned a long time ago that survival requires cooperation, not domination, Jake said. On Earth, we faced extinction dozens of times. Ice ages, volcanic eruptions, asteroid impacts, diseases that killed millions. We survived because we worked together, because we adapted, because we learned to help each other instead of fighting over scraps. Our history is not perfect, Lisa added. We had wars, we made terrible mistakes, but we learned from them. We built a unified civilization based on the principle that the universe is dangerous enough without us adding to it. N studied the humans carefully. You are asking us to trust that a species from a class 12, capable of thriving on class 15 planets, will remain peaceful. Yes, Jake said simply. That is exactly what we are asking. Made a decision. We will need time to verify your claims and discuss this with the full council, but I propose we establish a temporary communication protocol. You will provide locations of your other vessels and agree to regular check-ins while we determine how to proceed. Agreed, Jake said. We want to be part of the galactic community, not feared by it. The emergency council session convened 6 hours after the first contact meeting. Every representative had reviewed Ed's intelligence report. The chamber buzzed with nervous energy and barely contained fear. Director called the meeting to order. Intelligence Director Eth will present her findings. Eth activated the main display. A star map appeared showing the local sectors. Red dots marked human vessel positions. There were far too many of them. When we spoke with Commander Henderson, he mentioned 17 exploration vessels, Eth began. This was accurate. However, a comprehensive scan of the region reveals 32 total human ships currently operating within what we consider Council space. She highlighted different categories. 17 exploration vessels, as stated, 8 construction ships, 5 colony transport vessels, and 2 ships whose purpose we cannot determine but which generate power signatures larger than anything in our military fleet. The chamber exploded in angry voices. Representatives shouted over each other, demanding explanations, calling for military action, accusing humanity of deception. Kay slammed his fist on the table. This is an invasion force. They are establishing staging grounds on while we debate whether to trust them. We do not know that, N argued. Commander Henderson was specifically asked about exploration vessels. He answered truthfully. A lie by omission is still a lie, Kay shot back. Raised his hand for silence. Before we make any decisions, I want to understand what we are facing. Eth, what are these colony ships doing? The intelligence director brought up detailed scans. They appear to be supporting settlements on 3 planets. All 3 are classified class 13 or higher. The settlements are small, between 500 and 2,000 individuals each. They are building permanent structures, establishing agriculture adapted to extreme conditions, and conducting extensive research. On worlds that would kill us in minutes, someone whispered. Correct, Eth confirmed. I sent probes to gather more data. The human colony on Hadean Prime exists in an environment with surface temperatures reaching 180 degrees in daylight and dropping to negative 120 at night. The atmosphere is primarily carbon dioxide with sulfuric acid rain, yet the humans have established a functioning settlement. She showed images captured by the probe. Human colonists moved between buildings wearing protective suits, but the suits were lighter than what galactic species would need. Children played in enclosed habitats. Farms grew food in controlled environments. It looked almost normal, except for the hellish landscape visible through the windows. They are adapting these worlds, N said quietly. Not just visiting them, making them home. Which brings us to the larger question, said. What happens when they finish claiming all the... We have approximately 400 Class 10 or higher planets in Council space. At their current rate of expansion, humanity could colonize all of them within 50 cycles. And then, Kay demanded, when the nightmares are gone and they want more space, they turn to our worlds their bodies are naturally superior on. We would be helpless. A council member from the delegation stood. Perhaps we should offer them formal territory, establish boundaries, give them the in exchange for peace. Or we eliminate the threat now, Kay countered, while they are still scattered and unprepared. The debate raged for hours. Some representatives saw potential allies, others saw existential danger. Listened to every argument, weighing each carefully. Finally, he made a decision. We will contact Commander Henderson again. We will ask him directly about the colony ships and construction vessels. We will give humanity the chance to explain themselves fully, and then we will decide. The message was sent. Jake Henderson responded within an hour, agreeing to another meeting. This time, the atmosphere was different. The humans entered the conference chamber to find twice as many council members present. Security personnel stood at every door. The scanning equipment was more obvious, more intrusive. Jake immediately sensed the change. "Director, has something happened?" "Sit down, Commander," said. His tone was formal, cold. Eth activated the star map. 32 red dots glowed against the black. "You told us about 17 exploration vessels," she said. "You did not mention these." Jake studied the display, Lisa and exchanged glances. "You did not ask about construction or colony ships," Jake replied carefully. "You asked about exploration vessels engaged in research missions. I answered that question honestly." "A technicality," Kay spat. "You deceived us." "No," Lisa interjected firmly. "We answered the specific question asked. If you wanted complete information about all human activities in this region, you should have asked for it." "We are asking now," said. "Explain the colony ships. Explain why humanity is establishing permanent settlements on throughout our space." Activated his own data display. "May I present some context?" Nodded. "When humanity achieved faster-than-light travel 12 cycles ago, we immediately began searching for habitable worlds," explained. "We found hundreds of planets that met standard habitability criteria. Beautiful worlds with comfortable gravity, pleasant weather, abundant resources." He showed images of paradise planets, lush forests, clear blue skies, gentle oceans. "We attempted to establish colonies on 3 of these worlds," continued. "Within 2 cycles, all 3 colonies were failing. Paradise syndrome affected 90% of colonists. Medical facilities were overwhelmed. Suicide rates increased by 400%. We had to evacuate." The council representatives watched in silence. "So we tried something different," Jake took over. "We established a colony on Titan's Forge, a Class 11 world with high gravity and extreme weather. The colony thrived. Population grew. Health problems disappeared. People were happy." "That makes no sense," N said. "It makes perfect sense if you understand human evolution," Lisa explained. "For millions of years, our ancestors survived by adapting to constant challenges. Our bodies expect stress. Our minds need problems to solve. Remove that and we break down psychologically and physically." "But you found a solution," observed. "You discovered you could only colonize." "Exactly," Jake confirmed. "So we made a decision. Rather than compete with other species for comfortable worlds, we would claim the planets everyone else considered worthless. We would transform death traps into homes." "Without asking permission," Kay pointed out. "Permission from who?" Jake challenged. "We had no contact with other intelligent species. We scanned for signs of civilization on every world we approached. We found none because you do not go near. We thought we were alone in the universe." Eth brought up detailed records. "Our data shows your colonies are permanent installations. You are building infrastructure meant to last centuries. You are raising families on these worlds." "Yes," confirmed. "We are building a future for humanity among the stars, on worlds that challenge us, that push us to be better, that give our children the environment they need to thrive." "And when you run out of," Kay demanded, "what then?" Jake met his gaze steadily. "We have identified over 9,000 Class 10 or higher worlds within range of our current technology. Even with aggressive expansion, we have enough extreme environment planets to sustain human civilization for thousands of cycles. We have no interest in your comfortable worlds." "You say that now," Kay argued. "But species change. Governments change. What happens when a future human leader decides conquest is easier than colonization?" Lisa stood abruptly. "You want to guarantee we will never become aggressive? Fine, look at our ships. Every one of them is designed for exploration and construction, not warfare. We have no military fleet, no weapons platforms, no invasion forces." "Your exploration ships are more powerful than our warships," someone pointed out. "Because they need to be to survive Class 15 planetary conditions," shot back. That is not our fault. We did not design them to intimidate you. We designed them to keep our people alive in the most hostile environments imaginable. The argument continued until N raised his hand for silence. I have a question, the ambassador said quietly. Commander Henderson, if we asked you to leave Council space, would you? The chamber went quiet. Everyone waited for the answer. Jake considered carefully. We would prefer to reach a peaceful agreement, but if the Council formally declared all in this region off-limits to humanity, we would respect that decision and seek worlds elsewhere. Even though you are already establishing colonies, N pressed. Even then, Jake confirmed. We would evacuate our settlements and move on. We are explorers and settlers, ambassador, not conquerors. Studied the human commander. Everything in Jake's body language suggested honesty, but the director had learned long ago that appearances could deceive. We will need to verify your claims, said finally. We will send inspection teams to your colony worlds. We will review your ship designs. We will need complete transparency about your activities and intentions. Agreed, Jake said immediately. We have nothing to hide. As the humans prepared to leave, alarms suddenly blared throughout the station. Red emergency lights flashed in the corridors. Kay received an urgent message on his communicator. His expression went from surprise to horrified. We are under attack, he announced. Or raiders, multiple ships. They are hitting civilian stations along the outer frontier. The Or, a hostile species from beyond Council space. Pirates and slavers who had been quiet for decades. Their return meant trouble. How many ships? Demanded. At least 40, Kay replied. They are using new weapons. Our defense forces are taking heavy casualties. Jake looked at his team. Lisa nodded slightly, was already calculating distances. Director, Jake said, the Frontier Spirit can be at the attack zone in 3 hours. We can help. This is not your fight, replied. You are being attacked, Lisa said simply. That makes it our fight. Kay laughed bitterly. And why should we trust you? Maybe this is your plan. Let the raiders weaken the Frontier Spirit accelerated hard toward the or attack zone. On the bridge, Jake Henderson reviewed tactical data while his crew prepared for combat they had never trained for. Exploration vessels were not supposed to fight wars. Status report, Jake ordered. Lisa Morgan worked her station with focused intensity. 3 human ships are within range. The Storm Chaser under Captain Foster is closest, already engaging the raiders. Deep Explorer with Captain Rachel is 2 hours out. Horizon Runner under Captain Stephen is 4 hours behind us. Casualties? Jake asked. Cole pulled up the grim statistics. 12 civilian stations destroyed. 7 Defense Force ships disabled or destroyed. Estimated civilian deaths over 3,000 and climbing. The Or are hitting hard and fast. Jake studied the tactical display. The Or attack pattern made sense from a raider perspective. They were targeting resource extraction platforms and supply depots, stealing what they could carry and destroying the rest. But their new weapons technology gave them an edge the Galactic Defense Force was not prepared for. What are we looking at with these or weapons? Jake asked. Some kind of plasma lance system, reported. It cuts through standard shields like they are not there. Defense Force ships are dropping fast. Lisa enhanced the tactical view. The Storm Chaser engaged 3 raider ships 15 minutes ago, is reporting that his shields are holding. The Or weapons are not having the same effect on his hull. Because the Storm Chaser was designed to survive atmospheric entry on a Class 14 world, noted. Standard military shields would vaporize under those conditions. Ship uses layered ablative armor and redundant energy dispersion systems. Jake nodded slowly. An idea was forming. Open a channel to all Galactic Defense Force commanders in the area and get me Captain Foster. Foster's face appeared on the screen. The captain looked tired but determined. Behind him, his bridge crew worked frantically at their stations. Jake, good to see you, said. Things are messy out here. What's your ship status? We took some hits, but nothing serious. Their plasma weapons are powerful, but we are built tougher than their normal targets. I have been using the Storm Chaser as a mobile shield for civilian evacuation ships. Smart, Jake approved. We are 2 hours out. Rachel and Stephen are behind us. I need you to keep doing what you are doing and send me all your combat data. Already transmitting, confirmed. Jake, there is something else. The Or are concentrating forces near Research Station Omega. I think that is their real target. Pulled up information on Station Omega. It is a Council scientific facility. They study ancient technologies recovered from dead civilizations. If the Or capture that station, Lisa said quietly, they will have access to weapons that could destabilize this entire region. Jake made his decision. Continue covering the evacuation routes. When Rachel and Stephen arrive, coordinate with them. Create a defensive line and protect as many civilians as possible. What are you going to do? Asked. We are going after Station Omega, Jake replied. We cannot let the Or take it. He cut the transmission and opened a channel to the Galactic Defense Force command ship. Commander K appeared on screen, his expression grim. Commander Henderson, K said, I did not expect you to actually show up. We gave our word, Jake replied simply. Security Chief, I am looking at your tactical situation. You are spread too thin trying to defend everything at once. We have no choice, K snapped. Every station has civilians that need protection. Then let us help, Jake offered. My other ships are arriving to support the evacuation effort, but I need you to understand something about the frontier spirit. We can take more punishment than your ships can, a lot more. Kay studied the human commander. What are you suggesting? The Or are targeting Station Omega, Jake explained. It is their primary objective. Everything else is distraction. I am proposing the frontier spirit makes a direct run to the station. We punch through their lines, reinforce the defenders, and hold until your forces can regroup. That is suicide, Kay said flatly. There are at least 15 or warships between you and that station. You would be destroyed before you got halfway. With respect, Security Chief, you do not know what this ship can do, Jake replied. The frontier spirit was designed to descend into atmospheres that generate heat equivalent to plasma weapons. We have flown through ion storms that would fry your electronics. We have survived impacts from meteor strikes that would crack your hulls open. Lisa brought up engineering specifications. Our armor is 6 times thicker than standard military vessels. We have 17 independent power systems. Every critical component has at least 3 backups. We are designed for environments where a single failure means everyone dies. Running through enemy fire is not the same as surviving a storm, Kay argued. Actually, it is very similar, interjected. We have run probability simulations. The frontier spirit has an 82% chance of reaching Station Omega intact. Kay stared at them. You are serious. Completely, Jake confirmed. But we need your defense forces to time their counterattack. When we draw the Or attention, your ships hit their flanks, divide their forces. The security chief was quiet for a long moment. If you are wrong, you will die. If we do nothing, thousands more will die, Jake replied, including everyone on Station Omega. Kay nodded slowly. Do it, and Commander Henderson, good luck. The frontier spirit altered course, heading directly into the densest concentration of Or ships. On the bridge, the crew worked with calm efficiency. This was not what they had trained for, but the principles were the same. Survive impossible conditions, adapt to unexpected challenges, protect each other. All hands, this is the commander, Jake announced over the ship-wide intercom. We are about to enter combat. Seal all compartments. Damage control teams to stations. Engineering, I need maximum power to shields and structural integrity. Chief Engineer Pete responded from the engine room. You have got it, Commander. This ship was built to take a beating. Let us show these raiders what that means. The first plasma lance struck the frontier spirit's forward shields. The impact sent vibrations through the hull. Crew members grabbed support rails as the ship shuddered. Shields holding at 94%, Lisa reported. Minimal damage. 3 more shots hammered the ship. Warning lights flashed, but no critical systems failed. This is nothing compared to the ion storms on 442B, muttered. Those things hit us with more energy than this every 30 seconds for 6 months straight. Jake watched the tactical display. More ships were converging on their position. The frontier spirit was drawing exactly the attention he wanted. Kay, now would be a good time for that counterattack, Jake said calmly. Galactic Defense Force ships swept in from 3 directions, hitting the Or formations while they were focused on the human vessel. The tide began to turn. But the Or were not finished. 5 ships positioned themselves directly in the Frontier Spirit's path, concentrating their fire in a coordinated barrage. "Shields down to 70%, Lisa reported. "Hull integrity still solid." "Then we keep going," Jake ordered. The barrage intensified. Plasma fire washed over the Frontier Spirit's hull in waves. The ship groaned under the assault, but it did not break. The engineers had designed every system to survive conditions that would destroy lesser vessels, and those systems were holding. "Enemy ships breaking formation," Lisa announced. "They were not expecting us to just push through." The Frontier Spirit emerged from the gauntlet, battered but functional. Station Omega appeared on visual range, or boarding teams were already attempting to breach the outer sections. "Bring us alongside," Jake ordered. "Prepare boarding countermeasures." "Sir," Lisa said quietly, "we are not soldiers." "No," Jake agreed, "but we are humans and those raiders are about to learn what that means." The Frontier Spirit docked with Station Omega using emergency clamps. Jake assembled a security team of 20 crew members. None of them had military training, but all of them had survived 6 months on a planet that killed without mercy. They understood danger. They understood survival. The team breached the station and immediately encountered raiders. The aliens were larger than humans, heavily armored, and carrying advanced weapons. They had conquered dozens of worlds and considered themselves superior warriors. They were completely unprepared for humans in close combat. Humans who had evolved dodging predators that could crush bones with single bites. Humans whose reflexes were honed by environments where a moment of slowness meant death. Humans whose bone density allowed them to hit with force that shattered armor. The first raider went down when Jake dodged its plasma shot and delivered a strike that crumpled its helmet. The second fell when Lisa swept its legs and disabled it before it could recover. The third retreated, shocked by the speed and power these smaller beings displayed. "Push forward," Jake ordered. "We need to reach the central research section before they access the weapons archive." The human team moved through the station with practiced efficiency. Every member knew their role. They covered each other, adapted to each situation, and pressed forward despite injuries and exhaustion. They reached the research section just as our engineers were attempting to crack the security. The aftermath of the battle left the council chambers in stunned silence. Director reviewed the combat reports for the third time, still struggling to accept what he was reading. The raiding fleet had withdrawn completely. 40 warships had retreated rather than continue fighting against a force that included 4 human vessels. The raiders had suffered losses they could not sustain, facing an enemy they did not understand. The human ships took damage that should have destroyed them, Kay reported to the assembled council. The Frontier Spirit absorbed direct hits from 15 plasma lances. Any of our vessels would have been disabled by the third shot. They kept fighting through all of them. N pulled up footage from the battle. And in close combat, their crew performed beyond anything we have in our military databases. Individual humans defeated multiple warriors who have conquered entire systems. "Because they are from Eth said quietly. "Everything about their evolution prepared them for exactly this kind of situation. High-stress combat in dangerous conditions. They were not trained for it. They were born for it." Watch the video of Jake Henderson and his team fighting through Station Omega. The humans moved with a coordination that came from shared hardship. They protected each other instinctively. They adapted to each new challenge without hesitation. "They saved thousands of lives," said. "When we needed help, they came without hesitation. They risked everything to protect people they had just met." "Which makes them either the best allies we could hope for," N noted, "or the most dangerous enemies imaginable." The debate had raged for hours. Some council members argued for immediate integration of humanity into galactic society. Others still pushed for containment or even preemptive action. The question remained, what do you do with a species that could be either savior or destroyer? Called for a vote. We must decide. Do we welcome humanity as equals or do we treat them as a threat to be managed? Before anyone could respond, an urgent message arrived from Station Omega. Commander Jake Henderson was requesting to address the council. "Let him speak," decided. Jake's image appeared on the main screen. He looked tired. His uniform showed scorch marks from the battle. Behind him, crew members worked to repair damage to the Frontier Spirit. Director, council members, Jake began. I want to thank you for trusting us during the crisis. My crew is honored that we could help protect innocent lives. You did more than help, replied. You saved Station Omega and prevented the Or from acquiring weapons that could have threatened the entire region. The Council is grateful. I am contacting you because I think we need to have an honest conversation about humanity's place in this galaxy, Jake continued. I have been listening to your debates. I understand your concerns about us, and I think there is a solution that benefits everyone. Kay leaned forward. We are listening. Humanity needs to survive and thrive, Jake explained. You have hundreds of such planets in Council space that you consider too dangerous for colonization. We propose a formal agreement. You grant humanity exclusive colonization rights to all Class 10 and higher worlds within your territory. In exchange, we become full members of the Galactic Council with all the responsibilities that includes. You want us to give you the most dangerous planets in our space, En said carefully. In exchange for what exactly? Lisa Morgan stepped into frame beside Jake. In exchange for protection, you saw what our ships can do. Vessels designed for are extremely difficult to destroy. You saw what our people can do in crisis situations. Humans trained by harsh environments respond to danger with calm efficiency. We could serve as rapid response forces, Jake continued. When you face threats that require ships capable of taking extreme punishment, you call us. When you need personnel who can operate under conditions that would break other species, you call us. We become the defenders you turn to when everything else has failed. Cole joined them, and we share everything we learn, our research on extreme environment survival, our engineering techniques for building in hostile conditions, our medical knowledge about adapting to high-stress situations. All of it becomes available to Council members. Considered the proposal. You are offering to become our shield in exchange for worlds we do not want anyway. Not a shield, Jake corrected. Partners. We do not want to be your military force. We want to be colleagues who happen to be very good at surviving the impossible. Kay spoke up. And what guarantee do we have that humanity will not eventually turn on us? That your children will not decide conquest is easier than cooperation? Jake met the security chief's gaze. The same guarantee any species offers, our word backed by our actions. Judge us by what we do, not what you fear we might become. We came when you called for help. We risked our lives for people we just met. We kept our promises even when it would have been easier to walk away. Words are easy, Kay challenged. Then judge us by these facts, Lisa said firmly. Humanity has had access to your space for 12 cycles. We could have attacked at any time. We could have established hidden military bases on you never visit. We could have done 1,000 hostile things. Instead, we explored, we researched, and we built communities. When we finally met you, we came in peace. When you needed us, we fought to protect you. And if we refuse this agreement? Someone asked. If we decide humanity is too dangerous to allow in Council space? Then we will leave, Jake said simply. We will evacuate our colonies and find elsewhere. We will be disappointed, but we will respect your decision. We are not conquerors. We are survivors looking for a place to call home. The council chambers fell silent, looked at each representative, reading their expressions, gauging their positions. I call for a vote, announced. All in favor of accepting humanity as full council members and granting them colonization rights to Class 10 and higher worlds, indicate now. The vote was not unanimous. Some representatives still harbored doubts, but the majority recognized opportunity when they saw it. The motion passes, declared. Humanity is hereby welcomed as a member species of the Galactic Council. Commander Henderson, your proposal is accepted. Jake smiled, relief evident on his face. Thank you, Director. We will not let you down. There is one additional condition, En interjected. You mentioned sharing your knowledge. We want to establish joint training programs, not to make other species into humans, but to learn from your survival techniques and problem-solving approaches. Agreed, Jake said immediately. We would be honored to share what we have learned. Over the following months, the integration proceeded smoothly. Human colony ships arrived at across Council space, transforming nightmares into thriving communities. The colonists adapted the worlds while the worlds challenged the colonists. It was exactly what both needed. The joint training programs exceeded expectations. Galactic species learned that they were more capable than they believed. Humans taught them that survival was not about being the strongest or fastest. It was about adapting, cooperating, and never giving up. Human vessels became fixtures at every major station. When emergencies arose, the call went out and humans responded. They rescued stranded ships from stellar storms. They evacuated colonies threatened by natural disasters. They faced dangers that would terrify normal species and did it with calm efficiency. 6 months after first contact, Director visited the human colony on Titan's Forge. He wanted to see for himself how humans lived on a world that would kill him in seconds. Jake Henderson met him at the landing pad. The colony had grown substantially. Buildings stretched across the landscape, adapted to the extreme conditions. Farms produced food despite the harsh environment. Children played in protected areas, laughing and running in gravity that would crush without his compensator. "This is remarkable," said, looking around. "You have transformed this world." "We are working with it, not against it," Jake corrected. "The challenge makes us stronger. The difficulty gives us purpose. This is not paradise, Director, it is home." They walked through the colony, met families who had chosen to leave comfortable worlds to build lives on Titan's Forge. He spoke with scientists who studied the planet's unique ecosystem. He watched engineers design new technologies to solve problems that did not exist on gentle worlds. "I was afraid of your people," admitted. "When that Class 15 ship appeared in our space, I thought we faced an invasion force." "I know," Jake replied. "And I do not blame you. We are different from other species you have encountered. We seek out danger instead of avoiding it. We thrive in conditions that would destroy others." "But you chose to be protectors instead of conquerors," observed. "Because that is who we are," Jake said. "Earth taught us that survival requires cooperation. The universe is hostile enough without adding to it. When we found the galactic community, we saw an opportunity to apply that lesson on a larger scale." Looked up at the harsh sky of Titan's Forge. "You have given us something valuable, Commander. Not just your strength in crisis, but an example of what is possible when we face challenges instead of running from them." "And you gave us something equally valuable," Jake replied. "A place to belong, acceptance, the chance to be part of something larger than ourselves." As prepared to depart, he paused. "There will still be species that fear humanity, that see your capabilities and worry about what you might become." "Then we will prove them wrong," Jake said confidently. "One action at a time, one crisis at a time, one rescued life at a time, we will show the galaxy that the humans are here to help, not harm." "I believe you will," said. Years later, historians would mark the appearance of the frontier spirit as a turning point in galactic history. The day a Class 15 ship entered civilized space and changed everything. Not through conquest or intimidation, but through courage and compassion. The humans from Earth, survivors of a world that constantly tried to kill them, became the guardians of a galaxy that once feared them. The vessels that sparked panic became symbols of hope. The species' evolution had forged in fire became the defenders everyone called when darkness threatened. And across hundreds of worlds too hostile for other species to even consider, human colonies thrived. Children grew up strong. Communities flourished. Researchers made discoveries that benefited the entire galaxy. The nightmares had been tamed, not eliminated but transformed into homes for those who needed the challenge. Humanity had found its place among the stars, not as conquerors, not as victims, but as partners who understood that the greatest strength came from choosing who to protect, not who to dominate. The humans had arrived, and the galaxy was better for it. The raiders turned, weapons ready. "Last chance," Jake called out. "Surrender now or face the consequences." Your commander laughed. "You are outnumbered 3-1, you have already lost." "We survived a Class 15 mission," Jake replied. "You think we are afraid of you." The fight was brief and brutal. When it ended, your boarding teams were fleeing back to their ships, unwilling to face the humans in close quarters. Station Omega was secure. "Us then move in yourselves." Jake stepped forward. "Because that is not who we are. Judge us by our actions, Security Chief. Let us prove we meant what we said about cooperation." Made a decision that would change everything. "Go, help where you can, but know this, Commander Henderson, if you betray us, the entire galaxy will hunt you down." Jake nodded once. "Understood, we will not let you down." As the meeting concluded, and the humans returned to their shuttle. Eth pulled aside. "Director, I need to show you something," she said quietly. "I ran deep scans while we were talking. The humans are not lying about their other ships. I found them. All 17 vessels exactly where they said they would be." "That is good," replied. "Honesty is promising." "But there is more," Eth continued. "I expanded the search pattern. Director, there are not 17 human ships. There are 32. Felt his blood turn cold. "They lied." "No," Eth corrected. "They told us about their exploration vessels, but they have other ships, construction vessels, colony ships. Director, humanity is not just exploring, they are already colonizing them." Looked at the departing shuttle and realized the situation was far more complex than anyone had imagined.